all Clemson Tiger family. Welcome to the Best Damn Clemson Show with Cole and Cannon. It's good to be back. Cannon, what about you?
Yeah, it's good to be back. Happy New Year, everybody. Hadn't seen you guys in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while actually. Last time we talked, we were about to go play Texas in the first round of the college football playoff, and now it's mid-January, and we just had some big stuff happen in Clemson football the past couple of days, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. Jump right in.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, jump right into this thing and talk a little bit about Clemson basketball. Looking at ACC play, Tigers are sitting at 6-1. I think that could be 7-0. That was a tough road loss at Louisville last week, and still like they weren't playing together. And still off night and off with the Tigers, but they look to build on their resume as they head to Pittsburgh this Saturday, 4 o'clock tip on the CW network. Cannon, tell me about what kind of potential. I mean, any Brad Brownell team you would think's got a bunch of potential. This team's really good.
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous, obviously losing PJ and everything last year. What this team would really look like. Chase Hunter coming back at the beginning of the season. I loved it, obviously, but I didn't really know how far a Chase Hunter-led team could really take us. And I think that first loss we had in conference play against Louisville, what Brad did for the program last year and what he's, continued to do for the past 13, 14, 15 years is so respectable. But I think it was just kind of like a classic Brad Brownell game, early in the season, midweek game on the road. Clemson basketball's identity kind of always has been scrappy defense, slow the game down and live and die by the three-pointer. And it was just a game, that we kind of died by the three-pointer. And, this Georgia Tech game, if our defense didn't come out as hot as they did, it was one that I was worried about could get away from us. We hopped out to an early, almost double-digit lead. I think it was 10-4 going in about 12 minutes left to go in that first half. And it's just because we were playing our style of basketball our way. Offense really on the road has been kind of a struggle for us, I think, especially in the first half. I think Brownell's done very good about making adjustments at halftime, probably showing the guys what they're good at, what they're not good at, maybe, hey, stick to our game. Because, Clemson basketball, I don't know if you've seen this, but Kentucky's averaging 92 points this year. And they came to Little John Coliseum and scored a whopping 65, 66 points or something like that. So I think Brownell's got he's got a team with guys that'll do what he wants to do. Victor, it looked like he was taking him a couple games to settle in. Now it looks like, he's kind of found his stride. I think that this test that we have going to Pittsburgh this upcoming week, I think Pittsburgh is the third best team in the ACC when it comes to basketball. I wouldn't let the Duke game fool you. I just think the Duke is the best team in the country when it comes to college basketball, and I am more than excited to watch them come to Little John in early February. I think you're muted again, Cole.
My headphones keep going in and out. I ain't got no headphones. Sorry about that. But, yeah, I think Duke's the best team in college basketball as well. I mean, look at Cooper Flagg. Insane freshman. I mean, the guy looks 30 years old, but even though North Carolina is not the premier team they usually are this year, you get Duke and North Carolina back to back at home, and that's coming up very soon. But going on the road at Pittsburgh, a 12-5 team who had a fluke loss the other night at Florida State. Tempers were flaring to the end of the game.
Yeah, I was about to ask, did you see that end of the game? They scored that last.
Ready to throw hands. With the entire Florida State team, and that's a thing that's going to have to get Brad Brownell's team ready for this Saturday, because Pitt's good at home, and Pitt's a good team who lost a bad road game, and Florida State's not a bad team as well, but we know the potential Pitt has and what kind of basketball they play this season. So I think that's going to give Pitt that extra, confidence, not really momentum because they lost, but like that, they're ready to play basketball again. And I think that's something Brad Brownell's team has to look at and go in there and play their best basketball, because this Pitt team is going to be really hungry on Saturday after what happened against Florida State. So, I mean, looking at Chase Hunter averaging 17.4 points per game. I mean, if anybody's shooting the ball, I want it to be Chase Hunter. And I feel like I can speak for a lot of Clemson fans. And then obviously looking at Ian Shefflin, 10-plus rebounds a game. And then, a player that I don't think is talked about enough is Jaden Zachary. I mean, that kid
Especially the last couple of weeks,
Lying.
man. I mean, he has been lights out. I think that if Brad Brownell could build a basketball player in the lab, it'd probably be Jaden Zachary.
I mean, on both ends of the floor. I mean, offense, he's flying around. He's doing anything he can to get under the bucket. Like, he doesn't shoot as many threes as I thought he was going to come here and shoot. Like, if you look at him at Boston College, he lit us up in the AC tournament with the three ball. But this year it's kind of like he'll shoot a three if he's open, but he's never going to force a three. But he is very good down low. And he'll go down there and get something going under the rim, under the basket, and score points. And then on defense, I mean, he could score under the bucket. He's going to run, down the court in 0.4 seconds, get a steal, or just break it up. And he's just like flying all over the court. And I feel like that was, a huge get for this Brad Brownell team, because obviously I think probably the best transfer we've ever gotten out of the portal is probably Joe Girard.
Yeah.
I mean, shooting wise, stuff like that. But like, this is, you're not going to get a Joe Girard every portal class. So a guy like Jaden Zachary coming from, a mid to low tier Boston College team, and he's getting to play, with a great group of players, with a great coach under Brad Brownell. And I think it's everything he could ask for. And I mean, he's showing his style of basketball. And we thought,
I really think as long as he keeps shooting that three ball efficiently, then we'll be fine. Chase Hunter's a 58% 3-point shooter in his past 4 or 5 games. He's shooting the absolute heck out of the rock. And I kind of think that that's what's led to maybe a couple of offensive issues with the basketball team this year, is we don't really kind of have, we've had Alex Hemingway in the past and Joe Girard last year, like you were saying, who was just kind of taking Stephen Curry-esque unbelievable shots. And, it seemed like every single one went in. It seems like we don't really have an identity 3-point shooter this year, which, to me, it kind of is met with a little bit of hesitance in the games that I've watched. It kind of seems like we're passing the ball a lot. I know Brownell likes to do that regardless, but it seems like we're kind of giving up shots that we would normally take. And then other times, like in the Georgia Tech game, man, I swear the first half we were just shooting every single three we got, open or not. And it's tough because I feel like that's always been the philosophy of these Brad Brownell Clemson teams, is live and die by that three ball. I'm a math guy, so I understand it. I think that it's, the smart way to play. 3 is bigger than 2. And if you got a guy like Girard that'll make it over 50% of the times, like Chase Hunter is doing for us this year, then, why not shoot the heck out of that thing?
Like Billy Kingston says, haven't been keeping up basketball when I started, dude. I'd fully encourage you to. College hoops is probably one of my favorite sports. I mean, what beats, going like waking up on a Saturday? Usually you're thinking, oh, I get to wake up and go to Death Valley. I love to do it. That's probably one of my favorite things to do during the fall. But to know you get to wake up and go to Little John Coliseum and watch Brad Brownell coach a basketball team is awesome. And
I'll tell you one thing, as a student, nothing has me just in class during the day on the edge of my seat more than knowing there's like a grid after dark game. I love those 9:00 games, man.
See, I like the 9:00 games, but I want, like, if we're gonna play at 9, make it a top opponent, because I don't want to go.
Right.
I don't want to wait all day and then wait to play freaking Radford at 9:00. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that 100%. Like the Kentucky game, dude, at 9:00.
That was 9:30. Why don't we go bed at 10?
I know. I feel like we should have moved the Duke game to a night game, but it's on a Saturday, I believe, in the middle of the afternoon.
Looking at it, the baseball banquet is the same day as the Duke game, from like 2 to 5, and then the game's at 6. I mean, that's good. Like, a lot of people come for that. So, and players as well get over there. And I mean, that's going to be, if you're a student, you better get out there about 5 hours before, literally, no exaggeration. And I think people be out there even more, like the Central Spirit kids. They want that first row. So
yeah, they do.
But yeah, got a huge road test Saturday at Pitt, and then you look to come back home next Wednesday against a not so good Syracuse team this year, but you never know. And but I feel like we play our best ball at home, so I'm very excited to keep watching this Clemson basketball team as we get deeper and deeper into ACC play. And one loss you'll take. Anytime you have one loss to start, 6 games in the conference play usually.
Right.
We were not last year. Well, 2 years ago we were actually 7-8-0, and didn't even make the tournament that year. But this is the last couple of years of Clemson basketball has been nothing but something to look forward to, because we've all seen the bads of Clemson basketball. Sitting at like 3-8 in conference play and stuff like that. So I'm just glad to finally see us, be back. I'm not going to ever say a blue blood, obviously, but I think Clemson is getting to that point where they're a top, they're a team that everybody wants to talk about, if that
Right.
makes sense.
No,
So
I would agree with that.
yeah, but huge news coming out of Clemson football. Tom Allen, former Indiana coach, spent 1 year at Penn State, is now Clemson's new defense coordinator. And one thing I like what Dabo said yesterday about Wes Goodwin was, the work ethic of Wes Goodwin was awesome. We all knew the guy who Wes Goodwin was, to come there every day and coach these guys up. And Dabo says it was his fault, and I don't want Dabo to put that stuff on him, because he can't. I get it, I do get it, but at the end of the day, you gotta do what you gotta do on the defensive side. But brought in Tom Allen, who I think was a really great get. A lot of people were kind of like iffy about it, but I'm like, looking at that Penn State defense, they were really good. And then the Indiana, he had some big wins in Indiana as well. Former Clemson Tiger Elijah Rogers actually, was once Indiana Hoosier, and I haven't seen anybody more excited about this hire.
No, I hadn't either. He all over Twitter. I remember I saw a post where, it was just kind of a rumor right before I think Penn State had played that last game. And I saw Elijah co-tweet and just say something like, let me get Coach Allen on the phone real quick. And, 3 days later, the first person I thought about when I saw the news was, I think, Elijah Rogers. I was thinking, dang, I wonder if he did actually text him about it. But I'm kind of with you. I'm excited. I will admit that I was a little bit weary at first, not about Allen. I just kind of think we're in pretty uncharted waters as Clemson fans. We've been on one side of the gradient when it comes to transfer portal, NIL, exterior hires, and everything like that. And I kind of think that, Clemson fans have either been extremely nervous and anxious and ready to just, adapt into the ways of football. And then I think there's a lot of Clemson fans that are set in their roots and don't want to see the game that they love change. And, people don't know Tom Allen's name, and that's no diss on Tom Allen, but it's not very normal for us to just go out and get a guy like that. But I think that the scheme that he runs, he runs that 4-5-2 nickel, which I think that we have the players to run it. I think that our defensive line is going to have to put forth 110% effort in every single game that they play next year. Just simply because that's what I think that defensive lines by Tom Allen require. The thing that I like the most about it is like how he runs his linebackers. I think that Woodaz is a phenomenal athlete, but I think that, when it comes to the linebacker position, he could tackle a little bit better. And I think that the way that Tom Allen runs his defense is that he's going to have a guy kind of there to assist the linebackers, and the linebackers are really going to be that blanket security that are there. If they're not the first guy, they're the second guy there. And I'm really excited for it. I think it's a good fit. I definitely like it comparatively speaking to some of the guys that we had up there first, kind of like Tim Banks, nothing against Tim Banks or anything like that.
Sure.
But that kind of would have just felt like settling. You look at Tennessee's defense of statistics and rankings and everything like that comparatively to ours this year, and they're just not that different, Not to mention, I think I had read something that he had a couple players, maybe some coaching staff that he wanted to bring too. That's kind of not how Dabo operates. We have our team, we have our guys. It's just kind of all up to putting it all together, kind of that right recipe. I think another interesting thing that came out of it as a whole was Ben Boulware on the recruiting trail now. How you think that'll end up?
If you're going to send anybody that's like a fierce and meathead of a dude and just like has a lot of energy and it could really persuade somebody to want to do something, send Ben Boulware. We've seen it since he was a player here, and I was really excited when Dabo brought him on staff because he's one of the biggest criticizers ever. Like if you've kept up with Ben Boulware the last couple of years on like Twitter and stuff, he would if we were playing bad, which we were a three loss team. I get we lost 4 games this year, but it was just like it was different than last year. You make it to the playoffs. It's a 12 team thing this year, so you take what you can get. But like the last couple of years, Ben was he was criticizing, like he was who was doing wrong, and he was going to let you know who was doing it. And I feel like that was a good thing because I feel like you can't, especially for a former player like that to win. I think he won 2 national championships at Clemson. Played in 3 or 4 of them. So just looking at him, that's who I would want on the road recruiting because he can tell you he's a local kid from T.L. Hanna High School. Think about the guys from T.L. Hanna we've had him, Martavis Bryant. You had Darren Rencher. I might be missing a couple, but I mean, he is the exact person that I would want. Like Tom, for instance, Davis said he won't be on the road. I'm fine with that. Now, if he wants to pop in and talk a little bit with somebody, that's fine. But I agree with Ben Bower being the guy in the room. And another thing that people were kind of upset about was Taj Boyd being the quarterback's coach and recruiting. I like that as well for a guy like that who's been in the program. Got really put Clemson on the map, if we could say that. That I can't believe that team never beat South Carolina, but I mean, looking at like him, Sammy Watkins, Andre Ellington, guys like that, that's who I want in these kids' houses and schools, recruiting them and bringing them to Clemson, because I feel like they know the most about Dabo. Because like if Tom Allen goes on the road tomorrow and is talking to a kid and he's like, oh yeah, what's the life like at Clemson? Like, I don't know, I just got here yesterday, but you send Ben Bower. Oh yeah, man, the first day we get in here and freaking Ben Batson's dad's got to lift him 400 freaking pounds on the first daggum day. That's who you want recruiting these guys. So I'm very excited with the move, with letting Ben Bower recruit and send him on the road and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think a big thing of what you're saying is just that kind of intensity. It's no dig on Wes Goodwin whatsoever. But
not at all.
He never played collegiate football, and how do you expect to go and be the leader of a group of men? Not only a group of men, but defenders. Guys who are supposed to go out there and kind of inflict pain on their opponents, and their job is literally to stop the guys in front of them for doing whatever they need to do. And I think that, Tom Allen, he's a coach that has shown some intensity in years past and everything like that. I think that he doesn't know where he's going to be on the field or in the press box. I don't really care as long as he's lighting a fire under these guys' butts.
Yeah. Billy Kingston says, my question for you guys, do you believe our defensive front is better than the one Penn State had? I mean, I don't pay attention to really much of who Penn State had, but I mean, looking at Clemson's D-line, TJ Parker, Peter Woods, Will Help from Purdue, Kay Denhoff. Hopefully, we get DeMonte Capehart back. Looking really good on that as well. But
Maury Adams.
Maury, look at me forgetting the South Florence guy. Yeah, but Stephon Green, who is going to be a sophomore or junior one. I mean, this team has depth. I mean, don't even get me started on the offensive side, because I mean we were freaking returned every starter except Marcus Tate. And I mean, I get Choice Stellato, but like he wasn't the main guy
right
in the wide room. So I think this Clemson team next year is it's looking really, 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 really good.
I would agree. And to answer that question, I don't know if we got the same guys. I don't think that we have an Abdul Carter yet, but I think that Sammy Brown is very, very, very good at football.
Yeah.
But when I think that we got athletes, you know what I mean? I think that we have 4 stars and 5 stars too, all around that field. And, not to compare apples and oranges and everything like that, but it's just like, I feel like we were just kind of missing technique, coaching, and skill. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are going to go out there and give 110% regardless. So I do probably expect a little bit better defensive production than, Penn State. It's also different for Penn State too, because, with them playing in the Big Ten, they're seeing a lot more smash nose, run the ball, offense, to where their defensive line is just having to prepare every single week a lot differently than ones that you might see, where Kyle McCord and Cam Ward are the quarterbacks of the conference and stuff like that. And that you're going to get the ball thrown on you 40 times.
Yeah. And I agree with everything you said there. It's not, you can't all have an Abdul Carter, but I mean, and a lot of things, you've seen a couple of these Penn State guys enter the portal and stuff this year. And a lot of Clemson fans like, oh, are we going to get them? I don't know. And Dabo's really got these people scared now because of what he said yesterday, that the only reason we took a linebacker is because somebody tore their ACL. I feel like he's still going to say something like that and kind of keep his motive of the portal. But we've already seen he's adapted, because, I mean, I thought Tristan Smith and wide receiver is going to be our only get. I really did believe that. And then you get Will Help from Purdue, a huge guy like that. And you get Jeremiah Alexander, who we know has got all this potential. But I'm really excited, and I feel like this team, like I was excited for this year, but to now see the maturity of Kay Klubnik and where he stood up as a player under 2 years of Garrett Riley, it just got me freaking. I mean, I can't wait for that LSU game now. I think that one's going to be – I wish we could get game day, but I feel like they're already going to freak us. I think Ohio State plays somebody that week. Is it Ohio State and Texas?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. You talking about week 1? Yeah, it's Ohio State and Texas.
Jeez, man. But, Clemson football season's over. We're going to shift into, obviously we got basketball right now, but the one thing I love, and I can't wait to start in under a month, Clemson baseball. Drippy Tigers.
There we go. And, hey, speaking of that under a month start, man, I mean, that ain't no damn start.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 3 phenomenal baseball teams that we are opening it up with.
Yeah. The Clemson shout out to the Clemson group chat on Twitter, man. They're buzzing me up to go ahead and start talking about this. So we are, open it up on the road or in a neutral site for the first time. Not playing your opening day in DCAS for the first time since like 2005, I want to say. So this Clemson baseball season is steady approaching, and looking, when you're in October, November, December, you're like, oh, we got a while for baseball to start, but it's already mid-January. It's sneaking up. The 40 days until season was like 5 or 6 days ago. So we're very, very close. I'm going to talk about the transfer class a little bit for this Clemson team. Obviously we know the guys who left, Cooper, Blauser, Billy Barlow. Those guys, Cooper went to Jacksonville State. Billy went to Florida. And then obviously you said Nolan Araki, Nathan Hall go to South Carolina. Can't really speak much about the switch up, but and then Devin Parks, who's a really great baseball player, and I expect him to be back in Clemson after he spends a year in JUCO. I think he's playing for some Southwest Florida or something like that. But I'm gonna list these transfer guys. First, you got left-handed pitcher Hudson Lee, transfer from Wake Forest, who's a local guy at Dorman High School, who's got a lot of chemistry with a lot of Clemson players. Played a lot of ball with some of these guys in high school and travel ball. So I feel like this move with Hudson Lee was probably the best thing for his baseball career, just to, because he's got a lot of chemistry with his guys. And I think that was a big get for us as well. A guy who I think this guy's going to be in the weekend rotation is Michael Gillen from Seton Hall. He had
that's the Seton Hall guy.
Yeah, 1.51 ERA and 37 appearances over 2 seasons. Recorded 70 strikeouts to 19 walks and has given up 225 batting average. He's got 3 years eligibility remaining, but I mean, this kid throws the ball hard, and I mean, he tops like 97, 98 consistently.
Jeez.
So I think, we already know Aiden Canuck is going to be in the rotation. So I think Aiden Canuck,
right,
Michael Gillen, and then I would expect probably Ethan Darden to be that third guy. He's got a lot of experience in the starting rotation, especially in the ACC since his freshman year. Luke Kissenberth, the right-handed pitcher, Citadel transfer. I've known Luke a while, man, and Luke, he's a gritty guy when it comes to the baseball diamond. I think he's going to be a very good addition out of the bullpen. Josh Pena, coming from Cal Baptist. I didn't even know Cal Baptist was a school, if I'm being honest with you, but I saw him a lot on Twitter last year. Dude's a stud, and dude can move. And I think, he's gonna be somewhere in that middle infield. Obviously, we're gonna expect Andrew Trufant short, but that third base, second base, whatever. Luke Gaffney, huge redshirt. I think was he a redshirt freshman?
No, he won the Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Yeah,
and he set a couple of records at Purdue.
Was he a redshirt freshman?
I didn't. No, I don't think so. I think he played him. 54 games. Yeah, I got it right here. He played him 50. Well, actually, no. It says he did. So he redshirted last year. This past year was his first full season.
Gotcha. Yeah. So 349 batting average with 13 home runs, 65 RBIs across 215 at bats. You're gonna take that. And I've seen him playing a lot of outfield actually this fall and early winter, spring, getting in there. So looking at him, and obviously Colin Priest coming from Michigan, who was a true freshman. He appeared in 57 games last year, recording a 278 batting average with 12 home runs across 151 at-bats. He had a 4.41 on-base percentage last year, and he still has 4 years eligibility, but seeing him swing the bat, I don't think he's going to be here for that long. Another guy who I really think who's going to obviously I think is going to be in the starting lineup as well is Dom Listy, the Indiana State guy. I saw him play a lot of ball last year as well. I mean, he appeared in 59 games, according to 324 batting average with 34 RBIs across 216 at bats. And if you look at it, before he was at Indiana State, he played D3 ball at North Central. I mean, looking at a guy like that, a lot of kids that play D3 ball don't really. I mean, I'm not meaning this in a bad way. A lot don't really make it to the Power Four level of baseball. And to see a guy like that, Dom Listy, come up, I've watched him a lot over his college career. It is a really gritty player. And so that's all of the transfer class. But guys returning, we've seen Jaron Purify, Cam Canarella. I'm trying to think. I see it's been a while since baseball. I can't really think of the starting lineup from last year. Coach Hall, we'll take some questions. Coach Hall says, does McGovern or Bell make a push for weekend rotation? Talon Bell is still injured, I think, but will most likely pitch, I think, mid-May, April, May. Jacob McGovern, I still like Jacob McGovern out of the bullpen. I mean, he gave that big, end of the season, like when we wanted an out or a couple outs to get out of a jam, you threw Jacob McGovern in there. So I don't think he's going to be a weekend rotation guy. Drippy says, Listy going to be like Cooper Ingle as far as an on-base machine to go. Yeah, Dom Listy, all fall when I watched him, dude's gritty. I mean, he's it's like crack for him. I mean, I know that sounds bad. It's like crack for him to get on base, which is a good thing. Like, I mean, if he's going to find a way on base, and it doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to obviously want to line drive, rip base hit, but whatever it takes for him to get on base, he will. Another one, Dane Moeller, midweek guy. I would say maybe so on the midweek, but I feel like Dane has had a big step this fall, and I feel like he could be a guy that you kind of maybe come out of the pen with, but a midweek would be good. But I feel like he's got a lot of, obviously not a lot of experience yet because he's a freshman, but he's stepped up a lot. But Kanan, let's kind of do like a recap of last season. A year or two under Eric Bakich. You won a home regional for the first time since 2010, and hosted a super. And the last time we won a regional was the last time we went to Omaha. We were very, very close to Omaha. And didn't get that done, but I feel like it's steps. Year one with EB, we hosted a regional, we lost. Last year we hosted a super, we lost. So this year, year three, it sounds like Omaha, and I can't wait for that. So obviously you're a big baseball guy as well. You grew up in the PD. We've seen a lot of studs come out of there. South Florence, Hartsfield, West Florence, guys like that. So what are you most excited for this baseball season? Who do you think has a big jump?
The thing that I think that I'm most excited for is a more consistent rotation, throughout the entire week. I think that our problem the past couple years, especially the past 2 years, is, we have these aces like Kanak and everything like that. And, even, dude, Ethan was playing out of his mind at the end of the year last year. But it kind of just doesn't seem like we have consistency when we need it. You look at the postseason, how many times we had to go to over 3 to 4 pitchers when it mattered the most. I think that we're going to return hitters and, Cam and Kufifo and a bunch of guys like that. But I think that, sorry, I got a phone call, kind of distracted me a little. But I think that also these inner infield guys that, Baker just gone out and got, I think it's to stop a lot of the errors that we had last year. We were the cardiac cats, or we were either the shoot yourself in the foot cats. And it's frustrating to see so many kind of little things, deteriorate your season. Not that our season was deteriorated, like you said. I mean, we were a dang game away from going to Omaha. It felt like, I don't know. I think that there's something special going on in the springtime for these Tigers. I think that kind of like you were saying, how it's like a ladder. You'll take step by step. I fully believe that. I'm all in on Tigers baseball this year. I fully expect us to, be right in the same position, hosting a super regional. And even further than that, I fully expect us to be in Omaha, if you want me to be completely honest.
I agree. Coach All says, I can't wait to see Chufo back. Does Gaffney see more time as DH or catcher? I can see him in JJ rotating. Gaffney's going to play. I think Gaffney's going to play some outfield. He's been in right field a good bit this past fall, so I don't really see him catching a lot, if I'm being honest with you. Whereas Pena and Priest playing, Priest is most likely going to be DH, and Pena got to put him somewhere on that on the dirt. Don't sleep on midweeks. Yes, sir. But I put up a starting lineup from last season because I mean we spent a season of football. You kind of forget. Obviously you're returning Canarella. You lose Will Taylor to the draft. You lose Wright to the draft. Alden Mathis is gone. Obertop's gone. You return Chufo. You lose Blauser. Jacob Gerald's back. I think Jacob Gerald's going to have a huge season this year. I mean,
you think he'll be behind the plate?
Oh yeah, Jacob's going to be behind the plate. Yeah. And I wouldn't be. Hey, Tom Marshall. I think Tom Marshall's going to get a lot of time behind the plate because I mean it's hard to catch every game in college baseball. And Tom Marshall, if I trust anybody behind the plate, not named Jacob Gerald, it's going to be Tom Marshall. If I'm being honest with you, the guy that goes to the facility every day and works his tail off. And wants to play, and fights for that, that spot. I forgot we lost Hinderleiter as well, and then obviously Nolan Naraki to South Carolina.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one.
Yeah, Jaron Purify, man, dude's a freaking gamer. His glove, as long as we can get his bat going, and I fully expect him to. I mean, he's another guy that likes to. Spend his time at the facility when he's not, not in school or anything. And a lot of these guys out of practice spend their time at the facility, which is good to see because, a lot of college athletes, they want as much break time as possible. Let me go. Tom Marshall, Casey Boy. Yes, sir, Drippy. JJ will likely start the year behind the plate, but he's got to have his hitting figured out. If not, we can't keep
it. I'd agree with that. I think that his hitting's a little bit more sporadic than most too. It seems like he's not going over the park or striking out.
Yeah, and that's when I said I expect him to have a great season because, I mean, he wants it more than anybody, and I feel like he's going to be behind the plate no matter what. But as big as the guy he is, I mean, he's strong, dude. I don't know anybody quite as strong as Jacob Gerald. Coach Off says, I want to see Prather back there. Yeah, Hideki's made a big jump from his redshirt freshman season. So, I mean, who's the closer? I mean, we're mid-January. I can't really say. I mean, I don't know. I wish I could say. There's a lot of guys who I think could be the closer this year. I think he grew out of that. I think that was a temporary with his injury. But Clemson baseball coming up, man. Opening it up in the preseason. I don't know what the classics calls it, Shriners Classic or something. Any Clemson fans going to Arlington, Texas to watch the first ever, opening day, not in DKS since like 2005 or something like that. I'll be there. Cannon's going to try his best to get out there. We're going to get him out there some way or another. But Cannon is approaching us, man. It's right here. But you got anything? You got anything
fast, man? I'm excited for it too. I can't wait to spend it at the Not really. I think you kind of hit it straight on the point. I think that what's it called? What's it called? What's the award for pitcher of the year?
Oh, the pitcher of the year. Freak.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. I know Golden Spikes is obviously the.
I can't think of the name, but I'm gonna go ahead and give that to Aiden. I think Cam Kenrell is gonna have a first overall in the MLB draft kind of season, with what he was doing with his shoulder injury at the end of last year and in those regionals and super regional games. He was playing like freaking Superman. And that's kind of what I expect to see. I think, not to be corny, this doesn't really have anything to do with baseball, but dude, have you ever seen the culture around the Clemson baseball team as good as it is right now? I feel like we've never seen a group of guys that kind of interact and seem closer and, committed with one common goal. I think that I'm really, really excited for that game against South Carolina. Which game do we have here this year?
Friday night will be in DKS. Saturday will be in Greenville, and then Sunday.
And then Sunday they get the close. That's right.
Don't matter. Another thing I want to add is, or Coach Hall's got most true match of the call. We don't have the money. Okay. I'm excited about Little Brother, FSU, Liberty, and Duke or Wade. We have some big weekends at home this year. I agree with that. I think this Liberty matchup, I think it's a 2-game set with Liberty. You look at Liberty, a lot of former Tigers in that coaching staff. Andrew C. was our pitching coach years back. Bradley Lee is the head coach, and then if you guys remember, Andrew Cox played a lot of first base for us and was a big part of that 2016 ACC championship team. That home Vanderbilt regionals, he was there. He's on their coaching staff as well. So it's going to be a lot of familiar faces on that Liberty side. But yeah, you got a lot of big home games. You travel to freaking Cal this year to Berkeley, so that's going to be a weird one for Clemson. You go to Pitt, you go to Florida State.
We got Georgia at home too, I think.
Yeah, but it's not a home and home, so we just get them for that home game. But
yeah, a little bit of revenge for that extra inning game.
Dude, oh my God, I didn't go until like 3, literally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a long game. But this is one of the best times of year, college baseball, and I wish that college baseball had more publicity to it. I hate that every game, it's not a big game that you have to watch on the app, and I get that part, but like these kids are good, and these are some of the top athletes in the country. There's got to be some kind of network that wants to pick up college baseball, and so because a lot of people don't have the app, but I mean, I guess if you sign in with your TV provider, you can get it. But I mean, who wants to do that? You just got to turn the TV on and watch Clemson baseball. Coach Hall says we need a college baseball game again in the hoops. I heard a hoops one's actually in the mix. I've heard that from a couple people, but who knows? I don't know really anything. I talk Clemson, that's it. But Cannon, you got anything to add?
No, I think I'm all good. How about yourself?
I think I'm all good. Well, Tiger fans, we appreciate you joining the Best Damn Clemson show with Cole and Cannon as always. And we're gonna be a little more consistent. We're gonna be a lot more consistent with this thing because it's been a while. It's right before the Texas game. So we're gonna be back getting rolling. College baseball. We're gonna be doing a lot of talk of college baseball because it's more easier to talk about it when it's a couple days away because you start getting these projection lineups and you start hearing a lot more from the teams and coaching staff and stuff like that. So as always, Cole Gerard.
I'm Cannon Gerald.
We will see you guys next week. Thank you.